In the heart of Boston, an eager researcher named Ethan discovers a dusty manuscript hidden within the dimly lit shelves of an old library. This mysterious text, marked by the creases of time, seems to hold a connection to an ancient curse linked to a tomb waiting to be unearthed. As Ethan delves deeper into the manuscript's pages, he encounters convoluted warnings paired with bizarre hieroglyphs that dance across the parchment like secrets desperate to be told. The references to the Book of the Dead, the ancient pyramid texts, and long-forbidden rituals ignite both his imagination and his caution. What begins as an invigorating intellectual challenge soon spirals into a strange and unsettling journey. As Ethan shares his findings with fellow archaeologists, whispers of vanished researchers reach his ears. Experts like Dr. Leah Foster, a prominent Egyptologist who once examined the same text, have mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind only haunting tales of inexplicable misfortunes. One by one, the accounts of those who dared to explore the manuscript cast shadows on Ethan's enthusiasm. A gnawing sense of unease tugs at his conscience, yet an intrinsic curiosity compels him to push ahead. Driven by an insatiable urge to unearth the truth, Ethan reflects on his motivations. He grapples with a blend of academic ambition and a deep-seated desire to vindicate the researchers lost to the curse, hoping for answers that will lie buried within the tomb. However, as he follows the unfolding clues, subtle signs hint at something far more sinister than myth. A chilling breeze whispers through the library as a light flickers overhead, awakening Ethan's every sense. Could such occurrences be mere coincidence, or are they early warnings of the danger that lies ahead? Unfazed, he steels himself for what is to come, resolving to use his skill and intuition to navigate the secrets lurking in the dark recesses of ancient history. The journey has begun, tethered to the promises of both knowledge and peril, and Ethan is prepared to face whatever lies ahead to unveil the enigmatic mystery. Ethan, with fire in his belly and a relentless need to uncover the truth, immerses himself in the study of ancient burial sites around Boston. He meticulously decodes the texts he has gathered, each symbol revealing pieces of a long-hidden puzzle. The thrill of discovery pulses through him, bursting with hope and curiosity. Yet, the deeper he plunges into this world of secrets, the more the fabric of his reality begins to fray at the edges. As Ethan digs deeper into the research, the warnings from the manuscript become alarming and increasingly specific. His trusted colleague, Sarah, who assists him in painstakingly piecing together the ancient texts, suddenly falls ill. One morning, she arrives at the library pale and trembling, as if the night has robbed her of vitality. Ethan watches with growing concern as she recounts dreams filled with dark shadows and muffled whispers. He tries to comfort her, yet he can't shake the chill creeping down his spine. Then, just when he thinks things couldn't get worse, another colleague named Ben mysteriously vanishes. One day he is part of the team, engaged in fervent discussions, and the next, he is gone without a word. No call, no text, just silence. Ethan feels a disquieting sense of dread settle in, gripping his heart like an iron vice. The sigh of the library, once a refuge filled with enticing whispers of knowledge, morphs into something foreboding. Ethan's electronic equipment begins to fail at the most inopportune moments. The edges of his recorded interviews with experts blur into static, and audio recordings hum with strange whispers in languages he cannot recognize. He glances nervously at the equipment, trying to dismiss the unfolding incidents as mere mishaps or coincidences. But there's no denying that the strange symbols from the manuscript start appearing in unexpected places. He notices a peculiar mark carved into the woodwork of a library table, a design that matches an ancient glyph he had just analyzed days before. The sight sends a rush of adrenaline through him. It feels like a message, a sign that someone, or something, is watching him, nudging him forward yet holding him back. Ethan tries to talk sense into himself. Skeptics within his research group wave away his fears, chalking it up to coincidence or imaginative thinking. It's just the thrill of exploring myths, they remind him, but he cannot shake the sensations pulling at the back of his mind. A part of him wonders if he crossed an unseen line. Is curiosity worth this spiraling chaos? As doubts begin to creep in, his resolve flickers. What's driving him? Is it the quest for knowledge, or has he walked too far into the shadows? An internal battle wages on. He spends sleepless nights questioning his motivations, confronting thoughts that haunt him like specters in the darkness. Am I truly ready for the truth, no matter what it reveals? Amidst the chaos and growing anxiety, Ethan uncovers his next major clue, a hidden compartment within the manuscript revealing plans for an ancient ceremony. Perhaps, he thinks, this is what draws the curse's attention to him. Clutching a faint glimmer of courage, he realizes that this ceremony, this strange ritual woven from the threads of history, could be the key to understanding the risks he faces. With a blend of fear and exhilaration, Ethan decides he must forge ahead, aware that every step could lead him closer to both enlightenment and peril. One chilly morning, Ethan sits at his cluttered desk, sifting through old texts when a cryptic message slips between the pages. The type is unfamiliar, and the source is anonymous, adding to the intrigue. The note reveals a chilling warning about an ancient curse tied to a sealed chamber deep beneath the necropolis, an underground labyrinth lost to the sands of time. The mysterious writer claims to know the truth, and tales swirl around the chamber, hinting at an ancient guardian spirit determined to protect its secrets from intruders. Despite the tremors of caution dancing through his spine, a spark of determination ignites within Ethan. This could be the breakthrough he has sought for so long. The allure of unraveling a centuries-old mystery is simply too compelling to resist. So he embraces the challenge, fueled by the promise of unknown revelations just waiting to come to light. With a map in hand, Ethan dives into an age-old catacomb. The clues lead him to a lost passageway behind a crumbling wall. He pushes aside the debris, feeling a rush of adrenaline as he steps into the dimly lit corridor. Dust swirls around him, and with each decisive step, he finds a growing sense of confidence. He has not only decoded the message but also turned it into tangible action. Yet, as he navigates deeper into the passageway, the air shifts. A static energy fills the space, making his hair stand on end. The continuing supernatural events have begun to escalate. Ethan's pulse quickens as odd occurrences rip through the silence. Flickering lights dance in the air, shadows dart across cold stone walls, and the whispers, ethereal yet distinguishable, call out from somewhere deeper, wrapping around him like a shroud. What do they mean? Are they guiding or warning him? The atmosphere becomes heavy with tension. Suddenly, during an exploration session, Ethan's colleague, Mike, steps away for a moment, only to be swallowed by the darkness. His frantic cries quickly fade, leaving nothing but unsettling silence. Panic erupts in the chamber. Ethan feels a sense of vulnerability creeping in as dark thoughts swarm around him. Who or what is watching them now? Fear curls at the edges of his mind as he grapples with the choice of retreating or pushing forward. Could this be the guardian spirit, energized by their intrusion? Despite the frightening circumstances, Ethan realizes he cannot retreat now, not when they are so close to the truth. As dread attempts to coil around his heart, he steadies his breath, anchoring himself to the adventure that has unfolded. He recalls Sarah's story of disturbing dreams, and a flame of courage stirs deep within. Each small win brings him closer to understanding, urging him to tread where others might flee. Ethan takes a moment to regain his composure, focusing on the task at hand. He pulls out his voice recorder, hoping to capture any unfamiliar words on the wind. Perhaps the forgotten name that has been whispered in shadows will provide a deeper connection to the guardians of the past. Even under the weight of uncertainty, he tells himself that every fear can lead to growth. He decides to take the next step, believing that knowledge is worth the risk, even if danger lurks just out of sight. Confidence blossoms alongside his resolve, ready to shine brightly even in the dim light of the unknown. With a pounding heart and trembling hands, Ethan pushes past the final barrier, entering the long-lost chamber. Dust swirls in the faint light, revealing ancient murals painted across the walls. Each brushstroke tells a horrifying story, a ballad of power, betrayal, and an unfathomable curse aimed at trapping something that transcends human understanding. He steps deeper into the chamber, captivated and horrified by the scenes that flicker with life as shadows play across the images. Every element within the chamber feels alive, buzzing with energy that sends a shiver up his spine. He gazes at the tall figures drawn on the walls, their expressions conveying deep despair and an eternal struggle against the curse imposed upon them. The air thickens around him, charged with an otherworldly presence. Ethan realizes he is no longer just a silent observer of history, he has become an integral part of this eerie tale, his own story intertwining with those who came before him. The tension in the chamber escalates as he studies the details of the murals more closely. Each depiction sends a wave of dread crashing over him, a warning buried within the history of this sacred space. Suddenly, the air shifts again, colder this time, and goosebumps prick his skin. It feels as if unseen eyes have settled upon him, scanning his presence as if determining his worth or intent. And then, it happens. A rush of air sweeps through the chamber, and Ethan hears an echo, a ghostly whisper that weaves through the silence. It feels intimate, as if the chamber itself has responded to his exploration. He strains to listen, his heart racing as fragments of a forgotten name drift toward him. As the name slips through the air, darkness seeps into the corners of his vision. The atmosphere thickens, filled with an undeniable energy that sends alarm bells ringing in his mind. Ethan's gaze shifts to his surroundings, heavy with the realization that the curse is not just a legend but a tangible force. The first undeniable proof that the curse is real materializes as a mural begins to pulse with an eerie light, casting shadows that writhe and twist. The oppressive energy tightens around him, nearly suffocating. He feels the weight of ancient eyes locked onto him, many generations glancing down at this moment in time. In that instant, an overwhelming wave of doubt washes over him. The stories he brushed aside in the name of curiosity now loom large, forcing him to confront the reality of his situation. Is it wise to probe deeper into the mysteries of the past, knowing the dangers that linger? Can he truly escape this grasping darkness that grows closer with every heartbeat? Yet, deep within the layers of anxiety and fear, a deep-seated resolve begins to emerge. Ethan reminds himself that the knowledge he seeks might just be shrouded in peril, but it is also vital. He thinks of Sarah and Mike, their vanished selves lingering in his mind, spurring him on. Understanding what lies ahead is the only way to reclaim control over the story he has now become part of. He steels himself for the trials to come, ready to confront whatever dormant power awaits him within the shadows of this ancient chamber. As Ethan stands transfixed in the chamber, the shadows around him seem to breathe, thick and suffocating. Just when he thinks he has come to terms with the knowledge he seeks, something shifts in the atmosphere. A figure emerges from the entrance, Sarah, his trusted ally and fellow researcher. But there's something different in her demeanor, an urgency in her eyes that he hasn't seen before. "Why didn't you tell me?" he demands, confusion pooling into frustration. It tumbles out in a rush, fueled by the intensity of their situation. "Why were you holding back?" With a heavy sigh, Sarah steps closer, her gaze locking onto his. "There are things you don't understand, Ethan. Things I wasn't ready to share." Her voice trembles slightly as she continues. "I knew information, critical information that could have changed your approach to all of this." Ethan feels an unsettling chill creep down his spine as she reveals a terrible truth. The curse was not meant to punish grave robbers, it was designed to seal away something dark and ancient. With each word, the oppressive energy of the chamber amplifies, pressing against him like a physical force. "The chamber isn't just a repository of the past," she says, her voice heavy with gravity. "It's a prison for a powerful entity, one that seeks freedom." The revelation strikes him hard, as if the air around him has crackled with electricity. He struggles to process the enormity of her words. Something truly horrifying has been locked away, and in his pursuit for knowledge, he may have set this very thing in motion. Fleeting images flash in Ethan's mind, of the pulsing mural, of shadows flickering in corners, and of voices whispering warnings that he should have heeded. Now, with the knowledge swirling around him, he grasps that the supernatural disturbances he has faced are not mere remnants of history, they are signs, harbingers of the thing that has awakened alongside his curiosity. Suddenly, the room trembles, and the very stones hum with an ominous energy. The shadows deepen, drawing back into mysterious shapes. Whispers escalate, hushed voices float around them, wrapped in despair and warning. Ethan's previous doubts crash into his mind, and the reality that he has become an unwitting participant in a dire saga roars to life. What have they unleashed by prying into secrets better left hidden? The air shifts again, colder, and flickering lights spiral into chaos as objects around them begin to rattle. Sarah's face pales as she realizes that the disturbance is not localized, it's following them, expanding into their lives beyond the chamber. Everywhere they go, the signs seem to plague their every move, portending danger and doom. Ethan feels the weight of the situation pressing down, suffocating. If this is true, he whispers, contemplating the enormity of their actions, then we have to find a way to seal it once more. We cannot let this get out. In the boiling turmoil of the moment, Ethan finally understands the gravity of insight. The very pursuit of understanding can awaken forces best left undisturbed. His heart races, not just with fear but with a newfound determination. Together, they must confront the ancient mystery they have stumbled upon and find a way to restore what has been broken, to untangle the threads of fate before darkness consumes them all. The moment of reckoning arrives with alarming swiftness. As the ancient burial site begins to quake beneath Ethan's feet, he feels the pulse of the curse resonating through the walls. The stone trembles and crumbles, sending dust swirling into the air like a storm. The very chamber that held centuries of secrets is now collapsing around him. In this chaos, figures emerge from the darkness, moving shadows, twisting forms that seem to slither around the edges of his vision. Are they spirits of the long lost, memories trapped eternally, or something even more sinister? Fear grips him, and time feels as if it has slowed. The chaotic sounds of falling debris echo through the chamber, punctuated by the soft haunting whispers of voices long silenced. As the shadows slink closer, they seem to beckon, urging him to join them in their eternal limbo. The atmosphere thickens, heavy with a dread that suffocates. In this split second, he realizes that he is not just a bystander in the turmoil but the very catalyst of horror's awakening. With no way to undo what has been done, Ethan faces a terrible choice. The thunderous growl of the collapsing chamber urges him to take action. He can attempt to contain whatever malevolent force has been unleashed, risking his own life in the process, or he can flee, leaving others, including Sarah, to bear the consequences of opening a door best sealed forever. His mind races as he weighs his options. Could he trap the dark energies, putting himself in harm's way? The flickering shadows swell around him, and it feels like the air is pressed with invisible hands, pulling him to his fate. The thought makes his heart race, but what if he succeeds? What if, against all odds, he binds this curse back to its confinement? The research, the findings, the entire quest for knowledge swirl in his head, urging him to do the right thing. But in the midst of this turmoil, doubt creeps in. What if he fails? What if his actions condemn not only him but also the world outside, setting loose an unimaginable evil? The fear of living with the consequences of his choice, of knowing that he could have stopped it, flashes in his mind like a warning. He sees Sarah's terrified eyes in the midst of chaos, a stark reminder of what is at stake. The ground trembles violently, and with a deafening roar, a cacophony of shifting stones and howling winds, the final terrifying moment approaches. Grasping Sarah's hand, he makes his choice, fueled by instinct and the desperate hope for redemption. In a surge of courage, he moves toward the source of turmoil. He recalls the ancient signs, and though terrified, he begins to chant the echoes of the forgotten names from the murals. The hidden knowledge from centuries fills his throat like fire. As he progresses, a swirling vortex of dark energy descends upon him, wrapping around them both. Shadows stretch out, reaching for him with cold, deep yearning. The spellbinding energy pulses under his grip. Hope flickers, perhaps he can mend what he has broken. But in the last instant, a sudden flash of undeniable power ignites from the upheaval. The room erupts with blinding light. Ethan's heart pounds as the forces clash, but he knows that the choice he made will alter everything. Desperate to seize control over the maelstrom, they are thrust into the eye of a storm where fate hangs by a fragile thread, sealing their destiny with every fleeting heartbeat. Ethan emerges from the ruins of the tomb, his heart still pounding, but everything around him feels different. He's alive, yes, but something has irrevocably changed within him. The heavy weight of the curse lingers on his shoulders like an unseen shroud, more real than the wounds on his body. As he steps back into the world, he carries with him echoes of the ancient presence, its whisper permeating his thoughts. At first, he tries to return to a sense of normalcy. He reconnects with Sarah, who looks visibly shaken yet relieved. They share a quiet understanding that the experience has altered them both. However, the weight of new visions soon bears down on him, vivid images piercing through the thin veil of his everyday life. He sees dark figures lurking in the corners of his vision, never fully revealing themselves. They whisper unsettling truths, relaying messages that he feels deep in his bones but cannot grasp. The presence feels alive, ever watchful, a constant reminder of the knowledge he has uncovered. Ethan soon notices that odd occurrences seep into his daily routine. Lights flicker around him, and objects inexplicably move when he is near. He tries to chop these sensations down to mere coincidences, but their frequency and intensity grow undeniable. Others who were involved with the research also whisper of disturbances in their lives. Sarah admits to sleepless nights filled with tormented dreams and spooky encounters with shape-shifting shadows that dance at the edge of her memory. Meanwhile, Mike's disappearance looms heavy over their work, casting a chilling shadow on their sense of closure. Desperate to reclaim his life, Ethan plots to erase all traces of the research they discovered. He gathers the documents, the recordings, and even the remnants of the ancient manuscripts, determined to rid himself of the curse as if it were a weight that he could cast off. But when he attempts to delete the material, hoping to bury the knowledge for good, his efforts fail. Copies spring up like weeds, each time more resistant to his attempts at destruction. It's as though the knowledge itself refuses to be erased, clawing its way back into existence. In a moment of chilling clarity, Ethan is struck by the first clear sign that he can never truly escape what he has uncovered. As he holds one of the manuscripts in his trembling hand, the ink on the page begins to shimmer faintly, almost as if asserting its energy and presence, embedded with secrets that now echo within him. Shadows dance around him, lingering closer, watching his every move with curious interest. Ethan gasps as swirling visions flash before his eyes. Memories and ancient stories bleed into his reality, fragments of the past merging with the present. He realizes in that heart-stopping moment that he is no longer just a passive observer or a simple researcher, he has become part of something far greater and more terrifying. No amount of denial will allow him to flee from the consequences of his actions. The curse is not just an external force, it has intertwined itself with his very being. Possessing not only his knowledge but a part of his essence, trapping him in a cycle that might never let him go. Out of the shadows that used to bring him comfort, he can now sense an unsettling truth: the more he tries to escape, the more its grip tightens, entwining his fate with the dark legacy that he has unearthed. Desperate for relief from the burden of the curse that trails him, Ethan dives into the depths of forbidden knowledge. Longing for answers, he scours ancient texts, finding whispers of a ritual rumored to counteract the malevolence that now lingers in his life. Each legend he uncovers speaks of hope but is shrouded in darkness, hinting at significant sacrifices needed to restore the delicate balance disturbed by his earlier actions. With Sarah at his side, Ethan sits in a dimly lit study, parchment spread before them, filled with hints and cryptic clues leading to the elusive ritual. He studies the intricate symbols and incantations, searching for a way to break free from the unseeable grip that still haunts him. Each time he reads the texts, dread coils in his gut. The deeper they dig, the more they realize how perilous their quest has become. To bring back the serenity they both crave comes at a price, and that price could be higher than they can pay. As they piece together the fragments of the ritual, Ethan stumbles upon a familiar name, the very traitor he had trusted during their initial research. Tara, the financier who had seemingly abandoned them just when they needed her the most, has ties to this ancient lore. She was present when the knowledge passed between generations, guarding it for her own purposes. The thought of betrayal stings, but now that sting transforms into a figure of intrigue. She holds the missing key, the insight that could unlock their path to salvation. Confronting Tara becomes a necessity. With a combination of resolve and caution, Ethan and Sarah set out to find her, navigating through dimly lit streets and whispers of the past. When they finally confront her in a shadowy alley, surrounded by neon lights and the hum of the city, Tara appears both wary and brooding, a figure cloaked in secrets. "I know why you're here," she says flatly. "You want something you shouldn't pursue. You think the ritual will set you free." Ethan's heart races as he meets her gaze. "But it's evident that we have no choice. The curse is not something we can ignore. You have what we need to reverse what was unleashed. Please, tell us how to do it." Tara's eyes narrow slightly, and for a moment, it seems as if she might help. But then, with a shake of her head, she reveals the darker truth. To perform the ritual, one must sacrifice a part of their very soul. Are you willing to pay that price? The weight of her words hangs in the air, heavy and foreboding. Ethan's mind spins. Is it worth the loss? A piece of his essence for a chance at freedom? Shadows from the tomb haunt him, reminders of the dangers that worm into the very core of his being. As he grapples with the decision, he feels the curse tighten its grip around him. Memories of the lives altered by their knowledge play through his mind, fueling his struggle. What would it be like to erase the experience entirely? To wipe clean the encounters that have marked his heart? Tara watches, knowing the reality of sacrifices made by those seeking redemption. He feels her gaze hold him, steady and piercing. It becomes clear that, no matter what, breaking the chain might cost something profound. The very idea overwhelms him. Will he dare walk this path, even if it means giving up a part of who he is? In that moment, Ethan is forced to face the deepest question of all, whether the fear of losing himself is heavier than the burden of the curse. Whether the price of freedom is worth paying, and whether he's ready to embrace the consequences tied to pursuing such forbidden knowledge. His heart races with uncertainty, torn between desire for release and fear of the unknown price attached to it. Ethan stands in the ruins of the chamber, the remnants of the curse lingering in the air around him. After much contemplation and inner turmoil, he made his choice. It was not an easy one, but he chose the path of sacrifice that Tara had described. A piece of his essence has merged with the ancient energy in the chamber, forever altering his spirit but simultaneously breaking the direct power of the curse. As he steps back into the light, he feels lightened yet burdened, the weight of an ever-watchful presence trailing closely behind him. The world outside is brighter than before as he crosses the threshold, birds chirp, the sun shines vividly, but there's still an uneasy stillness that wraps around him. Though the immediate danger has passed, Ethan senses that he carries something with him, a fragment of the ancient darkness that now rests within his soul. The experience has shaped him in ways he could never have imagined. Knowledge weighs heavier now, he understands the delicate balance of curiosity and caution, and he wonders if every discovery has the potential to unleash unseen forces. Sarah joins him, a light in the confined darkness they had just left behind. She, too, has been transformed by their experiences. The nightmares that once plagued her have quieted, but reflections of their past quest linger in her eyes. They share an unspoken understanding as they leave the chamber, both haunted and empowered by what they endured. Yet not all is well. As they reclaim their lives, the remnants of the curse evolve into something more insidious. Ethan soon notices eerie disturbances wherever he goes. Shadows flicker in places they should not, moments where the air grows thick and stifling. Whispers crawl back into existence at the corners of his dreams, echoes of creatures trapped in time now hidden where he cannot see them. Even when he turns to recount their journey, the stories seem to morph, filling with dread and new uncertainties. As weeks pass, Ethan sees how knowledge binds both the curious and the damned. He realizes that the artifact, the ancient manuscript, still speaks to him in dreams, sometimes providing insight, but at times it feels ominously like a curse. Although the direct threat has been mitigated, its spirit may linger, seeking a new vessel to fulfill an old purpose. Each day, he wonders if the curse truly lifted, or has it simply transformed and found refuge within him. In the final moments, as he sits in his study surrounded by visibly altered manuscripts and notes, he can't help but feel that something has indeed taken the place of what was lost. He sees reflections of himself every time he passes a mirror, images that seem deeper, etched with curiosity, and yet burdened with caution. Ethan understands that haven't escaped the past entirely, it is merely reshaped and repackaged. These subtle changes fuel both a haunting uncertainty and an awakening gratitude for living through it all. A chilling feeling settles in. Will this knowledge use him, evolving into something greater or darker? The echoes whisper within him, reminders of the past that may never truly fade away but will instead follow him through the corridors of his new life, leaving an eerie reminder that truth and myth are often intertwined in the shadows they cast. In the end, Ethan's journey doesn't close with clear resolution but rather a complex intertwining of hope, knowledge, and caution. As he glances at the remaining manuscripts, he understands one thing deeply: exploring such mysteries will always carry a cost. Shadows dance along the edges, beckoning his curiosity even when his heart knows to tread lightly, reminding him that every adventure echoes well beyond its end.